Senator Blumenthal has been calling for much the same. So obviously there's bipartisan rage building here. But what would a criminal investigation do?
Well, I think the comment I made was that the IG report may ultimately result in what necessitates a criminal investigation.
I'm sorry, sir. I just want to. You're talking about an Inspector General report that cited abuse by abuse and screw up by screw up what was going on. But go ahead.
That's exactly right. And I think, look, we have time to get to the bottom of how we got here. My plea right now to the President of the United States and the Secretary, though, is clear the wait list immediately using the resources of private sector medical providers. That's the crisis we face. Let's clear the wait list now. The investigation, the subpoenas, those will continue. But that's going to take time. What we need to do right now is address the wait list for veterans in need of health care.
All right. Part of the wait list problem is that the VA can't handle the wait list. So would you be open, or Republicans and Democrats working on a plan where you give soldiers, veterans vouchers to go to another hospital where if they need a lesion or something removed or immediate treatment, they can get it without being told you're going to have to wait some months, and in one soldier's case, 4 years. Is that in the plans?
I think it has to be. I wrote a letter to the Secretary last week saying, Mr. Secretary, clear the wait list now using the private sector. Even if that's only for the next 3, 6, or 12 months. Because, listen, long-term institutional reforms, we need to make sure we get them right. Veterans like the health care they get at the VA. So before we move too quickly on a full private sector solution, that requires a lot of debate, a lot of deliberation. But immediately, yes, the Secretary has the authority to send veterans outside the system. They're not doing it at the rate necessary right now to clear the wait list. That is the plea. The impatience of the American people is not about how did we get here. The impatience is why are there still so many people on the wait list when you have the authority to change that today. And if the President would come out with an answer to that, I would be the first one as a Republican member to applaud him, because that's what he needs to do.
Shintake Edward would pass along to the President the problems that he was having, and he needed more support, more funds, or whatever, and the President or his staff didn't respond. What do you say?
Listen, I think this matter already sits at the desk of the President. I think the President should address the American people every single day until it's resolved. And I don't mean that politically. I'm very careful about this. We don't need to play politics with this issue, but it is appropriate as a member of Congress under Article 1 authority to hold the President accountable. And here's why. The President in his press conference last year took credit for making VA reform a priority in his Senate race and in each of his presidential runs. Now, he took credit for making it a priority, and yet all he's doing is shifting blame to his secretary and to bureaucratic staff in the middle. The President owns this issue right now. He needs to respond with leadership and solve it, and I'd be happy to applaud him once he does. But thus far, no changes, no administrative changes, no policy changes, no personnel changes, no emergency measures. That's what we need to see from the President of the United States today.
Congressman, thank you very, very much.
Thank you very much, Neal.
We heard the rage that Montel started getting into yesterday.